Hi, and welcome to Historical Influence. Here, we explore amazing stories of people and events that shaped our history. Join us to learn, discover, and get inspired by the past in a fun and engaging way. Welcome to the story of Queen Victoria, the woman who ruled the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland from 1837 until her death in 1901. Her immense reign of nearly 64 years, 63 years and 216 days, was the longest of any of her predecessors, constituting the era named after her, the Victorian era. Victoria was the second longest reigning British monarch in history, topped only by her great-great-granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II. Though famously tiny, standing at just 4 feet 11 inches tall, she was a giant in shaping the modern monarchy. This period was marked by vast industrial, political, scientific, and military change. Tonight, we look behind the crown at the life, love, and immense legacy of the powerful young woman who became an empress. Born Alexandrina Victoria on May 24, 1819, at London's Kensington Palace, her early life was marked by isolation. Her father, Edward, Duke of Kent, died when she was less than a year old. As she became first in line for the throne after her father's brothers died without surviving legitimate heirs, her mother, Princess Victoria, and courtier John Conroy imposed the strict manipulative Kensington system. This system mandated strict rules, made the girl share a bedroom with her mother, and ensured she was never left alone. Despite this isolating upbringing, Victoria developed a talent for drawing and painting, and was an avid diarist. Upon the death of William IV, Victoria ascended the throne at the age of 18 on June 20, 1837, thereby avoiding a regency. She immediately took charge, writing in her diary her desire to do what is fit and right for her country. She quickly banished Conroy from her presence and became the first monarch to reside at Buckingham Palace. In her early years, she found a trusted advisor and confidant in Whig Prime Minister Lord Melbourne, who helped teach her the intricacies of being a constitutional monarch. However, her popularity temporarily sank due to a court scandal involving Lady Flora Hastings and the subsequent bedchamber crisis of 1839, where she resisted Tory attempts to replace her Whig ladies-in-waiting. She was sometimes publicly jeered at as Mrs. Melbourne. The 64 years of Victoria's rule defined the Victorian era, a period of massive political, scientific, and industrial change. Victoria actively championed modernization and industrial advancements. Demonstrating this forward-thinking attitude, she became the first monarch to ride a train in 1842 at the age of 23, describing the motion as much easier than a carriage. Under her reign, Great Britain experienced unprecedented industrial expansion, including the building of railways, bridges, underground sewers, and power distribution networks throughout much of the empire. This period fostered significant growth in major cities, such as Manchester, Leeds, and Birmingham, and saw increased literacy. Scientific and technological breakthroughs flourished, including Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, the telegraph, and the telephone. Much of this focus on progress was influenced by her husband, Prince Albert, who carried great sway in setting the Queen's priorities, concentrating heavily on arts, sciences, trade, and industry. Albert was the main force behind the Great Exhibition of 1851. This monumental event celebrated global industry, technology, and culture, drawing 6 million people to London and establishing itself as the first World's Fair. Victoria also left an indelible mark on popular culture. She is credited with restoring the public's view of the monarchy. She started the enduring social tradition of a bride wearing white on her wedding day. Furthermore, she and Albert made decorating Christmas trees customary in Britain. This mix of industrial advancement, cultural change, and restored monarchical prestige characterized the Age of Progress. In 1840, Victoria married her first cousin, the German Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Since Victoria was the queen, she proposed to Albert on October 15, 1839, just 5 days after he arrived at Windsor. She was intensely devoted to him. Following their wedding on February 10, 1840, she wrote ecstatically in her diary, describing a feeling of heavenly love and happiness I never could have hoped to have felt before. Albert became her most important political advisor and companion, effectively replacing Melbourne as the dominant influential figure in the first half of her life. Albert played a crucial role in helping her navigate difficult political waters. Between 1840 and 1857, the couple had 9 children: Victoria, Edward, Alice, Alfred, Helena, Louise, Arthur, Leopold, and Beatrice. Victoria disliked being pregnant and once noted that newborn babies were ugly. However, she supported modern medicine, notably using the new anesthetic chloroform during the births of her 2 youngest children, Leopold and Beatrice, despite opposition from clergy and doctors. Nearly all of their children married into European royal families, and many of her 42 grandchildren ruled monarchies across the continent, famously earning Victoria the sobriquet, the Grandmother of Europe. Victoria's self-imposed isolation following Albert's death led to a decline in her popularity and fueled the growth of the Republican movement. However, her eventual return to public life, combined with the successful expansion of the British Empire, helped restore public favor. During her reign, the British Empire reached its peak size and power. It doubled in reach, eventually covering 1/5 of the globe and including nations such as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and India. Roughly 1 in 4 people on Earth lived under her imperial shadow. Following the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the territories and protectorates of the Indian subcontinent were formally incorporated into the British Empire under direct crown rule. Victoria showed a relatively balanced view of the conflict, insisting that the official proclamation of the transfer of power should breathe feelings of generosity, benevolence, and religious toleration, and guaranteeing religious freedom. In 1877, Victoria officially took the title of Empress of India. This move was strategically advised by her favored Prime Minister, conservative Benjamin Disraeli, and served to link the monarchy directly to the expansion of the empire, significantly restoring the monarchy's image after her long seclusion. Victoria strongly endorsed this imperial policy. She viewed the expansion as a civilizing and benign force. She believed that if Britain was to maintain its status as a first-rate power, it must be prepared for attacks and wars continually. Locations across the globe, from Victoria Falls in Zambia to Queensland in Australia, were named in her honor. Despite her early unpopularity as a widow, Victoria's image recovered in the latter half of her reign, and she became a respected national icon, identified publicly with strict standards of morality. Her long life was also one of continuous danger, as she survived at least 7 documented assassination attempts, which purportedly led her to carry a chainmail bulletproof umbrella. Her immense longevity was celebrated through 2 great national events: the Golden Jubilee in 1887 and the Diamond Jubilee in 1897, marking 50 and 60 years on the throne, respectively, cemented her popular image. The Diamond Jubilee, at the suggestion of the colonial secretary, was celebrated specifically as a massive festival of the British Empire, including a procession featuring troops from across the globe. In her private life, Victoria maintained intense emotional relationships with two male servants following Albert's death. First, she relied heavily on her Scottish manservant, John Brown. Their close bond fueled widespread rumors of a romantic connection, or even a secret marriage, leading some to call her Mrs. Brown. Victoria affectionately referred to him as her devoted personal attendant and faithful friend. After Brown's death, her Indian attendant, Abdul Karim, became her closest confidant, or Munshi. He taught her Urdu, and she showered him with gifts, titles, and honors. In letters, the Queen referred to him as your loving mother and your closest friend. This relationship was highly controversial and scandalous to the royal family, who harbored prejudice against Karim. In her later years, Victoria, though projecting a grand image, struggled with her health. Her weight increased due to comfort eating, she suffered from rheumatism, and her eyesight was clouded by cataracts. Although she was a constitutional monarch, she privately sought to influence government policy and appointments. She showed clear political biases, favoring conservative Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, who charmed her. Conversely, she detested Liberal Prime Minister William Gladstone, whom she criticized for speaking to her as though she were a public meeting, and even referring to him as a half-crazy and really in many ways ridiculous old man. Her final years were marked by deep personal losses, including the death of her second son, Alfred, in July 1900. She lamented in her journal, "Oh God, my poor darling Affie gone too." Victoria spent her final Christmas of 1900 at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight. Her health rapidly declined. By mid-January 1901, she was described as drowsy, dazed, and confused. She died there on January 22, 1901, at the age of 81. Her oldest son and successor, Edward VII, and her eldest grandson, Emperor Wilhelm II of Germany, were at her bedside. In a final assertion of her will, Victoria left explicit instructions for her funeral, requesting it be military and white, not black, despite her lifelong mourning attire. She was interred beside Prince Albert in the Royal Mausoleum at Frogmore. As a poignant testament to her deepest bonds, she requested that a plaster cast of Albert's hand and, concealed from her family, a lock of John Brown's hair be placed in her coffin. Queen Victoria's legacy is monumental. Her 63-year tenure defined the Victorian era, noted for tremendous advancements in industry, arts, and political reform. She presided over the British Empire at its largest and most powerful, covering a massive segment of the globe. Crucially, she redefined the monarchy. She solidified the concept of the family monarchy, shifting the institution to emphasize morality and family values, thereby restoring its credibility after years of Hanoverian scandal. Through her 9 children who married into Europe's royal houses, she cemented her title as the Grandmother of Europe. This extensive family network resulted in the transmission of hemophilia B, which she carried, affecting descendants and monarchies across the continent, including Russia and Spain. Victoria was the last British monarch of the House of Hanover. She left behind a crown that was more symbolic than political, a world-spanning empire, and an indelible stamp on history. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that shaped our world.